Hi friend, come on in. There is something genuinely special about a fresh bagel with its thin, crisp skin and that warm, dense chew inside that you just cannot get from store-bought versions. If you have ever had a bagel still warm from the oven, you know exactly what I mean. They are deeply satisfying in a way packaged bagels simply are not. The good news is that they are not much extra work. You can give them a long, cold ferment for deeper flavor, or make them same day if time is tight. The process is flexible, the ingredients are simple, and you get to decide when fresh bagels fit into your schedule. And if you want a good schmear to go with them, I've got you covered, literally. I am making this batch by hand today, but this dough can also be made in a food processor if you have one. This recipe makes 6 to 7 regular-sized bagels. In a mixing bowl, add 475 grams of bread flour, which is about 3¼ cups, along with 8 grams or 2 teaspoons of sugar, 12 grams or 1 teaspoon of salt, and between half a teaspoon and 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. If you want a quick turnaround, use 2 teaspoons. If you want a slower ferment with more flavor, use half a teaspoon. 1 teaspoon lands you on a more standard bread timeline. Mix the dry ingredients briefly, then add 265 grams of warm water. Mix until a rough, uniform dough forms, then cover and let it rest for 5 minutes. This short rest hydrates the flour fully and makes the dough easier to knead. This dough can also be made with all-purpose flour. The bagels turn out slightly softer with a little less chew, but they are still very good and absolutely worth making. All-purpose flour absorbs a bit less water, so the dough may feel stickier if you use the same measurements. You can work with that stickiness during kneading or add a small amount of extra flour if you prefer a stiffer dough. Traditional bagel dough is fairly low hydration and intentionally stiff, usually around 55% hydration, but there is flexibility here. Go with what feels manageable for you. For a sourdough version, the flour and water need to be adjusted to account for the starter. In a bowl, combine 420 grams of bread flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of sugar. Stir 100 grams of active starter into 215 grams of warm water, then add that mixture to the flour and bring it together. This assumes a 1-to-1 starter. If your starter is stiffer or looser, adjust the water accordingly. Rest the dough for 5 minutes. If you do not keep a starter, you can mimic some of that flavor by making a simple poolish the night before using 50 grams of flour, 50 grams of water, and a pinch of yeast. After the 5-minute rest, knead the dough for about 5 minutes until it feels smooth, elastic, and strong. That strength matters because bagels need to hold their shape during proofing and boiling. A weaker dough will spread and lose definition. If you are using a food processor, bring the dough together just until it forms a ball. Let it rest, then finish kneading by hand. If you are using a stand mixer, make sure it is capable of handling a stiff dough, since not all machines are built for this kind of work. After kneading, you can work everything bagel seasoning directly into the dough if you like. This is a good option if you want the flavor without worrying about toppings burning or falling off during slicing. Once the dough is smooth and elastic, round it into a ball and place it in a lightly oiled bowl. Cover it tightly so the surface does not dry out. I like using a damp tea towel to maintain humidity. Let the dough rise until nearly doubled. It should feel puffy and hold a gentle indentation when pressed. While the dough rises, this is the perfect time to prepare toppings and spreads. We love everything bagel seasoning, but pre-made blends are usually already toasted, which makes them prone to burning in the oven. For topping bagels, it is better to make a fresh blend. Combine 2 tablespoons of white sesame seeds, 2 tablespoons of black sesame seeds if you have them, 2 teaspoons of onion flakes, 2 teaspoons of garlic flakes, 2 teaspoons of poppy seeds, and 1½ tablespoons of flaky or kosher salt. The coarse salt matters because the fine salt will sink and disappear. If you want a toasted blend for cream cheese or other uses, toast the seeds and flakes in a dry pan first, then add the salt after. For cream cheese spreads, I am making 4 variations using 4 ounces of cream cheese each, so double the amounts if you are using a full block. For jalapeno cream cheese, add 2 to 3 tablespoons of roughly chopped pickled jalapenos and a small splash of the brine, adjusting to taste. This spread benefits from resting in the refrigerator for a few hours so the flavors can meld. Add more brine to increase the heat or the spreadability. This is my all-time favorite. I used to get a toasted everything bagel with jalapeno cream cheese from a small bagel shop for lunch, and I never got tired of it. For garlic and onion, add a 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and about 1 teaspoon of chives or parsley, then season lightly with salt. For everything cream cheese, stir in 1 tablespoon of everything seasoning without adding extra salt. This works especially well with seasoning that is already toasted and turns a plain bagel into an everything bagel. For whipped cream cheese, add 2 to 3 teaspoons of milk and a pinch of salt. Then whip until light and spreadable. Leave it plain or gently fold in any of the other flavors. These can all be mixed and matched according to your preferences. Other flavors include cinnamon and sugar, sun-dried tomato and basil, or even cream cheese ranch. Make what suits your tastes. Once the dough has risen, prepare a sheet pan with a generous layer of cornmeal or small squares of parchment. This prevents sticking, which is important because stuck bagels will deflate when moved. Turn the dough out and divide it into even portions, about 120 to 130 grams each for 6 bagels. Shape each piece either into a ball, then poke a hole through the center and stretch it gently, or roll the dough into a rope and seal the ends together. Make the hole larger than you think you need, since it will shrink slightly during proofing and baking. Final shaping depends on what you want from your bagels. New York-style bagels are larger with smaller holes. Montreal-style bagels are thinner with larger holes, and Jerusalem bagels are thinner and oval-shaped. Bagels meant for sandwiches benefit from a smaller hole and a wider center. Place the shaped bagels on the prepared tray and cover them. Proofing time depends on the yeast amount. With 2 teaspoons of yeast, they may only need 15 to 20 minutes. With less yeast, they can rest longer or go straight into the refrigerator for an overnight proof. A short rest at room temperature before chilling helps jumpstart fermentation. Cold dough is also easier to handle, so be gentle if working with warm bagels to avoid deflating them. To make bagels taste like bagels, they need to be boiled. Bring 6 to 8 cups of water to a boil and add about 2 tablespoons of either honey, brown sugar, or molasses. This step sets the crust, gelatinizes surface starches, and helps with browning. Boil 2 to 3 bagels at a time for 30 seconds per side. Handle them gently but confidently. If using parchment, dip the bagel briefly so the paper releases. If using cornmeal, a gentle shake will tell you if it is free. Transfer boiled bagels to a wire rack so excess water can drip off. Placing them directly on a baking sheet while wet can lead to soggy bottoms. While the bagels are still damp, apply toppings by gently dipping them into the seasoning. Press lightly without deflating the dough. Use everything bagel seasoning, sesame seeds, onion flakes, garlic flakes, Asiago cheese, or leave them plain. If you only have pre-toasted everything seasoning and only want a couple of flavored bagels, another option is to spread the dough into a rectangle, sprinkle the seasonings over the surface, roll it up tightly, then form the rings before proofing. Bake at 475 degrees Fahrenheit or 245 degrees Celsius for 15 to 20 minutes. They are usually fully cooked by around 15 minutes, and any additional time is for color. The boiling sets the exterior, while the oven spring finishes the interior and creates that classic bagel texture. A fresh bagel is crisp, warm, chewy, and soft all at once. It feels both simple and indulgent. These bagels come together with basic ingredients, a flexible schedule, and a method that puts you in control. Spread them with cream cheese, turn them into sandwiches, or enjoy them warm and plain. Once you make them yourself, it is hard to go back.